Y'all better hold on tight because Hollywood just served up another platter of drama you won't believe. Word on the street is that Blake Lively's go-to attorney ditched her in the middle of a high-stakes battle against Justin Baldoni and Wayfair Studios. Now, if a top-tier lawyer calls it quits out of the blue, you know something must be going off the rails. Today, we're taking you behind that glamorous red carpet facade and straight into the chaos of what might be Tinseltown's messiest court showdown yet. From the explosive accusations that first set social media ablaze to the eyebrow-raising tactics that certain PR teams have been pushing, we'll be examining every juicy detail. Why did Lively's lawyer jump ship at the worst possible moment? Is Justin Baldoni really the villain some people make him out to be? Or is there more to this story than meets the eye? Sit back, because we're ripping the lid right off the scandal. So let's set the scene. Blake Lively shocked the world by filing a lawsuit against Justin Baldoni and Wayfair Studios, claiming a whole array of misdeeds, offensive comments, alleged on-set disrespect, and more than a few other dramatic accusations. Hollywood being Hollywood, folks pounced on the rumor mill faster than you can say scandal, instantly painting Baldoni as some heartless perpetrator. For a while, it seemed like Lively had the public eating out of the palm of her hand. She's a beloved star, after all, and people are quick to side with a familiar face when sensational charges are thrown around. The tabloids lapped it up, influencer pages churned out gossip, and fans posted fiery rants online. It looked like a slam dunk for Blake, until the facade started to crumble. Because that's the thing about Tinseltown. Today's hero can become tomorrow's cautionary tale in the blink of an eye. As soon as the initial shock wore off, folks began to ask the glaring question, where's the hard evidence? Suspicion started creeping in, and the story took a turn. Let's just say that whatever advantage Blake might have had at the start didn't last long. But if her case was on shaky ground, why did it suddenly reach the point where her own attorney walked away? Let's talk about the jaw-dropping moment that set Hollywood abuzz. Now, here's where the drama leaps to a whole new level. Blake Lively's legal superstar, Meryl Conant, abruptly bowed out. We're talking about a lawyer who presumably joined this fight believing Blake had a solid argument, only to make a hasty exit when fresh revelations began surfacing. When a celebrity's attorney calls it quits before the real fireworks even start, it's usually not a good sign. Some say Conant got spooked by contradictory evidence that just kept piling up. Others claim she wanted to dodge the kind of negative spotlight that can scorch a professional reputation. Either way, her exit raises all sorts of questions about the strength of Blake's narrative. After all, attorneys are used to messy brawls, especially in an industry where rumors spread like wildfire. They don't just run off unless something major is amiss. Whispers around town suggest Conant realized there simply wasn't enough there to make a convincing argument in court. Or perhaps the star's story wasn't lining up with the receipts that had come to light. Whatever the final straw, Conant's resignation is a game changer. With their general out of commission, Blake's side has to scramble to reset strategies, and that's never a good look. But what was so damning that it scared off a seasoned attorney? Let's dig into the evidence because, honey, these revelations might surprise you. At first glance, Blake's list of grievances seemed quite believable, especially in the modern era where folks are becoming more vocal about mistreatment in entertainment. Yet, for claims of harassment and shaming to carry real weight, you need receipts. Emails, text messages, official complaints, something more solid than she said, he said. And here's where Justin Baldoni's camp threw a serious wrench in Blake's plans. They dropped a meticulously compiled stack of documents, some 170 pages thick, that allegedly disproves or casts major doubt on her accusations. Many people who had been rooting for Blake started to raise eyebrows and say, wait, is any of this verifiable? Once those documents landed on the public's radar, it turned into a battle of credibility. Baldoni's side showcased texts, call logs, and behind-the-scenes confirmations from production staff, painting Blake's story as an overblown or incomplete version of events. Suddenly, it wasn't just about who was more sympathetic. It was about who had tangible proof. And for a lot of curious onlookers, the proof wasn't backing Blake up. This pivot is often how celebrity controversies play out. A dramatic start grabs everyone's attention, but if the facts don't align, sympathy can evaporate overnight. In the face of conflicting evidence, you can guess how comfortable a high-powered attorney might feel staying on board. Just when you think the saga can't get any more complicated, in steps one of the biggest newspapers in the country, sparking an even bigger feud. Everybody knows the New York Times has a global reputation. So when they decided to wade into this legal mess, it gave Blake's camp a surge of credibility, or so it seemed. The Times published an expose that portrayed Blake's claims as not just allegations, but borderline validated truths. Cue the universal jaw drop. But Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, came out swinging, arguing that the Times did far more than just passively report. According to him, they presented Blake's version of events like it was nearly confirmed fact. He also says they rushed the story, barely giving the Wayfair side enough time to provide any substantial rebuttal. That's a pretty heavy charge to level against a paper known for its thoroughness. Friedman additionally pointed out that if the Times intentionally blurred the line between reporting what was alleged and reporting as if it was proven, they might be in hot water. Journalistic privileges can get murky if a news outlet is seen as actively endorsing one side without proper due diligence. And Friedman seems ready to push that argument in court, suggesting the Times article actually fueled a negative PR wave against Baldoni and Wayfair. The Times, of course, claims they did their professional duty to reach out and confirm details. Yet Friedman contends they had already cast the storyline in stone before making that courtesy call. If a jury believes that the venerable newspaper might have to answer for more than just sloppy coverage. As messy as it sounds, the Times might just be one player in a much bigger PR strategy, and that's where things get really wild. In Hollywood, crises aren't fought with just lawsuits, honey. A well-orchestrated PR blitz can change minds faster than the daily news cycle. And let's just say that Blake Lively's team didn't come to play. They reportedly brought in crisis managers, social media experts, and whisper networks, all aimed at making sure the public saw Blake as a victim desperately seeking justice. Rumor has it they leveraged influencer partnerships, curated insider leaks, and even stoked online debates to keep the scandal in everyone's faces. After all, if the crowd believes you're the underdog, sympathy rolls in, and the other side has to scramble to catch up. For a while, that strategy seemed to work. You couldn't scroll your feed without seeing somebody bashing Baldoni or labeling Wayfair Studios as the bad guys. But Friedman's evidence dump flipped the script. It showed that behind the dramatic headlines, there might be a lot less substance to Blake's allegations than the public was led to believe. Suddenly, the PR approach looked less like righteous advocacy and more like damage control on steroids. And once seeds of doubt were planted, the social media wave began to shift in a different direction, with onlookers demanding actual facts. It's a classic Hollywood story. Stage an emotional crusade, harness public outrage, hope the opposition can't refute you fast enough. But Friedman and Baldoni proved they had receipts, challenging the narrative Blake's camp had so carefully spun. However, beyond the PR theatrics, Friedman suspects an even deeper conspiracy. Let's talk about the possibility that multiple powerhouse players teamed up for a takedown. Friedman isn't just accusing Blake of exaggerating. He's raising the possibility that several figures, maybe PR gurus, maybe media contacts, maybe even some Hollywood insiders, banded together for a targeted smear. From his perspective, the flurry of negative press wasn't random. It was a coordinated assault to undercut Justin Baldoni's credibility and business ventures. If that's remotely accurate, then this fiasco isn't just a he said, she said scenario. It's a meticulously orchestrated effort to destroy reputations and secure a PR win. Friedman is allegedly collecting correspondences, texts, emails, meeting notes that might connect the dots between these different parties. Because if all roads lead back to a single plan to get Baldoni, that's bigger than a typical Hollywood spat. That could mean group collusion on an unprecedented scale. Of course, Blake's team insists she's simply telling her story, but Friedman's pointing to suspiciously timed leaks, manipulative headlines, and even quiet phone calls that allegedly prove a bigger game is afoot. In an industry where secrets rarely stay buried for long, we could be just weeks away from a meltdown that lays bare the entire behind-the-scenes operation. At this point, there's only one place to settle these explosive accusations: the inside of a courtroom. With so many twists, it's almost inevitable this will land in front of a judge and jury. Friedman's determined to lock in California as the battleground, rather than New York, because Golden State defamation laws could be more favorable to Baldoni and Wayfair. It's a strategic move. If Friedman can prove they were unfairly smeared, California offers heftier legal remedies. On top of that, Friedman wants to ensure the final verdict doesn't hinge on gossip columns or influencer hashtags, but actual witnesses, cross-examinations, and receipts under oath. And honestly, that might be the best route for everyone. Public perception can shift in a heartbeat, but a real trial forces each side to present verifiable facts. For the New York Times, this spells potential danger. If a California jury finds that the paper effectively presented and proven allegations as fact, the fallout could be massive, both financially and reputation-wise. It's already rare for someone to take on the Times in a defamation context, let alone come out on top. But Friedman seems confident he has enough to make the newspaper sweat. If Friedman succeeds in persuading the court that Lively's claims were based on shaky ground, or worse, maliciously fabricated, it'll send shockwaves through the celebrity world. Stars might learn that orchestrated PR takedowns can backfire big time. And media outlets? They could think twice before rushing to print unverified exposés. So here we are. Blake Lively's lawyer bailed on her. Justin Baldoni's got a mountain of documents challenging her every word. And even the New York Times is under scrutiny for possibly jumping the gun. One moment, Lively looked like she'd be the darling of the #MeToo era fight, rallying fans and media behind her cause. Now, she's the one scrambling to salvage her case, and maybe her reputation, before a jury gets to hear how weak her arguments might actually be. The real question is whether the truth will triumph once both sides present all their dirty laundry in court. Will Friedman reveal a tangled web of collusion aimed at tearing Baldoni down, or will Blake somehow uncover fresh proof that renews public sympathy? Either way, it's got folks across Hollywood talking and waiting with bated breath to see just how many careers this saga could wreck. Thanks for supporting the Gossip Wire. If you made it this far in the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more of the hottest celebrity news online.